Do you remember when there was an article written, could have been in The Guardian, about David Cameron, the former Prime Minister, about his child, that sort of
That's
implied
right.
because he was the Prime Minister and white that he wasn't allowed, the mourning of his dead child, which I think was like 8 or something, that even because of his privilege, it sort of didn't count.
Yes. It was a Guardian editorial, by the way.
Okay.
It was the editorial that day in the Guardian newspaper. Yes, they said that he may have suffered, but it was privileged suffering he'd had. And you think, how inhumane do you have to become to be try to start weighing up the privilege of a father losing his son? This should be a warning to everyone of what happens when you play that game. You end up trying to weigh up comparative grief. Comparative grief. That's what it is. And that's where this will always lead. It'll lead to inhumane things like that. And by the way, one other point on that. You make yourself, if you play this game, you make yourselves incredibly vulnerable as individuals and as a society for the following reason, which is that even if the game were somehow, I don't say winnable, but completable, shall we say, even if it were completable as a game, it would rely on everybody always playing the game honestly. Now, is it possible that there are some people in society, I wouldn't want to guess what percentage they make up, who, when they see an advantage, will seize it, even if it means using that advantage dishonestly? Might it be the case, for instance, that there are people who would, on the outside, appear to have had every imaginable privilege in their life, who decide to play the victim because they live in an era where victims are more celebrated than anyone else? Might such a type of person emerge? Might there be people, for instance, who pretend that they've suffered more racism than they have in their lives because they recognize that to make that claim will advantage them? Might it be the case that there are people who claimed that they've always been prejudiced against as a woman because it could help them now? Might it be the case that there will be people who will say that they've suffered homophobic disadvantages because they will sense that in this moment that could get them a notch further ahead? Oh, you bet there are. You bet there are. Well, how do you weed them out? How do you weed those people out from the sincere people? Answer: we can't. You can't. I can't. Nobody can. And so we get into this terrible game which has no end, which can't be won, and in which you are constantly vulnerable to dishonest actors. That's why I say don't play it. Don't play it.